Now, will we see other people in the room?
No, we won't.
Just us.
We will.
Just us.
Okay.
Okay, here we are.
For our ever virtual business after it is actually going to be a virtual beer tasting from this is actually one of the co-owners at Annee. To be tasting a special
There we go.
How you guys got to Gross Road?
It's going well over here. I mean, when we were open one full day before the governor said we had to, that all the restaurants and bars had to close in Illinois.
A whole day.
Yeah, we were not planning to open that early, but leading up to the week, we could see that it was going to be shut down if we didn't get it up quick.
Yep.
So we wanted to get at least one day under our belts, and so that Saturday we had planned to have a family and friends party and just soft opening, but instead we just told all the friends and family we needed to postpone that thing, and then we are going to open, and if you feel like coming, please come, and if you don't, it'll be okay. We'll be able to do it another time. And then we had one day of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then on the Sunday, we had a member event so that the members could come and see the new space, and not all of them came either. And so we said we'll do another one of those when we can. But
boy, I bet the ones that didn't come are regretting that now.
Well, I mean, but everybody knew what was going on. It was just we had to,
Dicey.
And yeah, so.
Yeah.
But since we've had the patio open this last week, it's been really good. Yeah.
And Michelle just said she got brisket to go with her beer, and it's delicious.
That's great. Oh yeah, we can see their comments on the screen.
Yeah, can you see those?
Yeah, yeah, that was like the last order I filled before leaving the kitchen.
And here's Andrew. I just put him in the room.
Hello.
Do you want to introduce Andrew to us?
Andrew Marks is our, he's one of our jack of all trades. He does everything for us in the brewery. He builds a lot of orders and gets them all shipped out all over the country, and keeps the inventory, knows what beer's being made when, what hops we're using, everything.
So you ship all over the country?
We do. We're working with we're in 12 different states right now.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So I see right now we've got 8 or 9 viewers. So if you're here and you want to say something to us, go ahead and post a comment in the comment section. Which beer are we tasting first, guys? Because I'm getting thirsty.
My recommendation to start us off would be the table beer.
Okay.
For reasons I'll make evident over the course of our time together.
Okay. So I'm going to open that.
So that's our table beer.
Close this door.
Michelle is asking us, do you have a location at Hubbard's Cave 2? And can you explain the name of your establishment?
Absolutely. So Annee and Hubbard's Cave are the same establishment. We're all one brewery, just 2 different brands. So Annee, which we're starting with, the Annee table beer, there we focus predominantly on Belgian styles and sour beers.
My favorite.
So this is just a traditional light Saison. Saison is a Belgian pale ale using a farmhouse yeast, which brings out bright, fruity Belgian esters. This is a very light beer as well, and actually toward the end we blend it with just a tiny, tiny bit of our wild ale. So we blend in just a touch of our sour beer, and then we dry hop this with a noble hop, in this case, Saz. And it's just a light, crisp, refreshing representation of a traditional Belgian style.
Yeah, it is great.
So this is very, very pale in appearance, obviously. Like I said, just very light. We don't make a lot of low ABV styles, but this is one of them. Table beer, house beer, something we try to keep around. Also, as a palate refresher. So keep some of this around over the course of the evening because it's a good way to reset the receptors.
Oh, wait, I need a second glass then.
Well, not necessarily. You can go back and forth.
Okay, so here's my question. I'm pouring it into a glass,
Yep.
and we've got the can. Is it better to drink it out of a glass or the can?
I prefer a glass. Honestly, I don't snub my nose at cans at any time. I drink out of cans plenty. If available, I would try to drink out of glass just to get the full aromatic experience. It really makes a difference being able to smell and taste at the same time. I know it sounds crazy, but it really does make a difference in the sensory experience when you're drinking beer.
Okay, excellent.
Agree.
Yeah.
I try to have a glass whenever I can.
So as I take you through the beers as well, I tried to get some of the brewery in the background. What you're seeing mainly behind me, these I can point at these guys. These are our bright tanks. So that's what the beer goes into right before packaging. Those aren't actually the fermentation vessels. Those are the things that are a little taller hiding behind there. So the beer goes straight out of these things into the cans.
Nice.
Before that, it's in our big conical fermenters, which I'll take you over there when I have a little more power. My computer's about dead, so I'm going to charge a little bit. That's where we make this thing. And we just blended in a little bit of our sour beer, which is in these. You can kind of see them. There's some shadows and highlights there, but these are what we call our cubes. That's what houses our sour beer.
So how much more space do you have here than you did over on Gulf Road?
Ooh. Do you know the figures, Dave?
Yeah, so we had in the actual main brewery over at Gulf Road, we had about 2,000 to 2,200 square feet, and then in our warehouse that we rented, the second space, that was a little more than 5,000 square feet. So it was roughly 7,500 square feet, and we're at 28,000 square feet here. So we're about four times the size, and then twice the height. So we could get the taller tanks and grow, vertically as well as spread out.
Nice.
As a small aside, the square footage doesn't tell the whole story either, because the storage facility that Dave mentioned was actually, it was a few doors down, but it was actually an old grocery store or supermarket of some kind. So there are a lot of walls and stuff.
Right. Yeah, it was mine.
Beautiful open space. So the square footage tells half the story, because here it's a lot more convenient for us to navigate things, like carrying pallets around.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys talk for a minute. I'm running in to get another glass before we taste the next beer.
All right. Well, while she's grabbing that, I'm going to grab the beer for anyone watching, and she can catch up. The next one we're going to go to is the Pesh. So the next, we're going Unane, then Hubbard's Cave. So Pesh, I wanted to make sure we had the table before that, since we blend in a little bit of our sour beer. I wanted you all to get that hint of tartness. So I'll briefly back up. So Alicia, we're going to follow up with the Pesh.
Okay.
And the reason I wanted to do the table first is because we blend in just a touch of our sour beer. So you'll get a hint of tartness on this. But if we had gone straight to the Pesh and you drink this afterwards, it's not going to taste tart. It's going to taste, honestly, like a Pilsner because of the way your taste buds work, essentially.
Okay.
So one more sip of the table. Then I've got my trusty fresh plastic cup, and I'm going to dive straight into Pesh.
And
And for this one, I am going to put a little spin around the brewery for you guys, because I want to show you how we make this bad boy.
Hey.
So immediately out of the glass, you're going to smell the tartness. It's almost like a sweet tarty. You get mineral character. It smells a little bit sour, and a lot of just peach fuzz, the
Oh,
light
wow.
of the peach. So
Mm.
first, since I'm here, I guess I'll stop. This is our brew house, 30 barrel brew house. Oh, I'm trying to hold it straight so not to make you all dizzy. Everything goes through there first. But when we make these sour beers, we've got this old wine fermenter. That's our mothership. So that holds our proprietary yeast and bacteria blend that we use to sour and culture all of these sour beers. So a lot of people making sour beer, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but a lot of popular sour beers right now are Berliner Weisse or other types of kettle sour things, where they're adding lactobacillus and other bacteria to the kettle to sour it over time. We ferment everything in stainless with a mixed culture, which in essence takes longer. But also, we like to think that it does add a lot more nuance and depth to our sour beers. Although ours do skew on the acidic end. Our sour beers are very tart. So with that, I'll take the first sip of Pesh.
Yeah. So our sour tank, that mothership, we use it like a sourdough starter. Basically, we have been brewing for over 5 years now of the sour beers, and we will fill up the tank, and we'll empty the tank of the sour beer that was in there before, leave a little bit in the bottom of it, brew a new batch, make it completely clean and sterile beer, just like we would any other beer, and then we cool it and also so it's still clean, and then we throw it in the tank with the sour cultures, and then we hope it goes as bad as it can go.
All right. I love it, like a sourdough starter.
Basically, yes. And we keep everything alive using what's referred to as a Solera method. So essentially, we fill this mothership up each time.
Okay.
From the bottom, which activates all the yeast, gets it all mixed in there nice. And then we always rack off about a foot above, and we never go all the way down. That leaves the culture in there, and we do that right before we put new beer in there. So we just keep this rolling all the time. It keeps it alive, keeps it healthy and propagating, so we can just keep going. Mm-hmm. And then once we come out of there, we go into, this is now a closer look at the cubes I was showing you before. So we've got a little room of cubes here. I should go this way. I'm still figuring out how to navigate this computer, obviously.
Nice.
Everything's inverse controls, it's like flying a plane.
Right.
So these are our cubes. Once it's in here, it finishes fermenting. Then we add fruit to it, in this case, peaches. To be more specific, in this case, we use a peach puree. It's all natural fruit. It comes from a local supplier called Greenwood Associates, also in Niles. So they've been a great partner to us. We get a lot, I would say most of our fruit from them, about 90%.
Greenwood Associates, they are, yes, good partners of ours. Well. Yeah, and good partners of the chamber as well.
Excellent. So once we get it in there, we add the fruit. We add another dose of our house culture. We take it off the side just like we did the beer. And then we let it ferment again. We try to get all that sugar out of there. And just so you're left with a nice natural fruit flavor. And in most cases, non-exploding cans.
There you go. So I am not a beer drinker. And I went out to California a couple of years ago. I picked my son up in San Francisco, and we drove up the coast to my daughter in Washington State. And we did wineries on the first half, and once we hit Portland, we started hitting breweries. And I said, if we're going to go to these damn breweries, we got to find something that I can drink.
Yep.
So we spent a lot of time at Ex Novo in Portland, and they were able to teach me that I liked sour beers.
Yep. We know that sour beers do bridge that gap for a lot of wine drinkers as well. A lot of people that prefer wine, like I don't like beer. I don't like beer, and we say try one of our, especially our barrel aged sours. We have a whole line of sour beers that we age in wine barrels, which brings out a lot of the funky character of the Brett yeast that we use. But it also gives it a lot of oak character. Sometimes the wine really imparts a lot of character to it. Looks like someone's trying to get my attention. Just one moment.
Absolutely.
Cool. Just popping in. Yeah, that's Shannon. She, if you pop in here to drink a beer on our patio, you'll likely be getting it from her. So,
she actually gave me my beer this evening when I picked it up.
Just wanted to say hi.
as the two.
Most people, I figured I'd check out some pieces. Anyway, bye. Sorry to interrupt.
Not at all. No, more the merrier. So yeah.
Chase wants to know where the name of the beers come from.
Sorry?
Chase wants to know where did the name of the beers come from?
All different sources, especially the Unanay are driven by Belgian and French, mostly French language, Belgian styles, which Jerry, Dave's brother, the other half of our proprietorship, spent a lot of time in Paris in his time as a Marine, and that stayed with him for a long time. I think he even brewed some beer over there, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a lot of the origin of the story of Unanay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
he did a year of architecture at Versailles. That he was living in France, and then went on some day trips. Each weekend to various places. He really
Nice.
liked the beer in Belgium, and he really liked that style of beer. So when he came back and he said he wanted to start brewing, that's what we brewed all the time.
Okay, Andrew, you're totally right. I just drank some of the table after I finished what I had of the Peche, and it doesn't taste sour at all.
Right. Yep.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. After how strong the acidity comes through in that one,
Yeah.
and with the strong peach flavor. This is, like I said, almost like drinking just a Pilsner lager or just a very light saison with no sort of wild blended in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
I see, Michelle. Don't blame me for trying to get through all four of these, especially the French toast. So everybody, take a cue from Michelle. If you're alone, maybe pace yourself. Don't try to get through all of these at once. You can come back to the video. This is meant to be something you can reference as a tool in the future if needed as well.
So I think I know the answer to this. Michelle says, if we come there, do you do flights of beer to try? And I think so. I remember having a flight of beer.
We do. Yep. We're still ironing out the details now. Maybe Dave can tell you, like, just for the patio, we're doing kind of limited options. Everything just in lay down through 16-ounce pours while we navigate this whole situation we find ourselves in right now.
Yeah.
But once we have full tap room, full service, more hands on deck, we will open up those options and, of course, make flights available. We want people to try all different styles of beers while they're here.
Fantastic. Okay, what are we going on to next?
So next we're going to move to the Fresh Pale.
Fresh Pale. Okay.
The Fresh Pale takes a cue from our Fresh Double IPA series. A lot of what put Hubbard Cave on the map in Chicago when we spun off from Unanay was our hazy double IPAs. And we were brewing just double IPAs for a while, but we started mixing up lighter styles. We've got this pale ale now. We've got a single IPA, and then still our full series of B series double IPA. But this is just a nice lighter option that we wanted for everybody in this forum. So this is a pale ale, like I said, hazy in style. So that gives it a little creamier body, a little softer than your traditional West Coast IPA. And for this one, we use predominantly Simcoe. Simcoe is our house favorite hop. It provides all sorts of tropical fruit and also piney characteristics, and then a little bit of Citra. And Citra, anybody who's a big hop fan will be able to tell you what Citra is right away. Very fruity, citrus-forward, juicy hop. So this one is nice, light, crisp, refreshing. And coming off of the sour, I find personally, the reason we went in this order is coming off of the sour beer, the hop character, the fruitiness, the juiciness of this really shines. You're coming off of a different palate, a different beer. It's a testament to how much your experience of each beer can change depending on what you're eating or drinking before.
Right? Yeah.
A sour beer to a hoppy beer, those hops are really going to pop and just give you a really juicy, sweet experience.
Yeah.
But that's it. I'm going to have my first experience.
Now, we sold out of all of the pale ale before we could actually save some for ourselves here. And so Andrew, I think, had one, but mine wasn't cold. So I have a fresh IPA. So it's a little bit stronger and a little bit more hoppy, but it's in the same ballpark. But
Okay.
The one Dave's having with us, just for everybody's information, it's a step up from this. It's 7% instead of 6%. It's still going to have a similar bright blonde, just hazy, opaque color. He's got it right there. And he's got sunlight. It looks a lot better than mine right now. And then that one uses only Simcoe. In our fresh IPA, we use all Simcoe for that one. We love them. If you follow us, you follow our V series, you're going to see a lot of Simcoe editions.
Can I mute myself?
And
So I guess I got a little juice to take another spin. At least I don't think I showed you the conicals before. So all our clean beers, since we've transitioned to Hubbard's Cave. So again, Hubbard's Cave, Unane, same brewery, just two different brands. And
Okay.
Hubbard's Cave, we brew predominantly hoppy beers and stouts. So all the clean beers, and that's a phrasing for anything that's not sour or using any sort of wild yeast or bacteria in our case, are made in these conical fermenters. Traditional, we have all 15 barrel right now, which allows us some flexibility. As we continue to grow into this space, we'll be moving those up to a higher size. But the conical fermenter, I'll keep that kind of over my shoulder as I explain what goes on. We pump the beer out of the kettle in there. So it's basically just sugar water at that point. There's no alcohol. And that's where we add the yeast. It ferments in there, and then we add the dry hops, transfer to the brights, which I showed you earlier, these nice round things without the cone bottom, and that's what we package from. Sorry, Dave, I wasn't trying to talk over you. Go ahead there.
I wanted to wait until you're done, but the kettle, you asked about us growing in size. We went from our kettle at the Gulf Road was half the size. So now we can brew twice as much beer in one shot.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we used to fill those conicals one at a time. Now one brew fills 2 tanks. So that is lovely.
And we may have answered this question before, but how long have you guys been brewing under the Unane Hubbard's Cave name?
So Unane over 6 years now, right? 2013 it began. And then
2013 September.
Hubbard's Cave just over 5.
We first made our first beer.
Oh, excellent. All right, now these guys are making fun of me.
Now, we were talking about going from sour to
Michelle's killing me.
I personally like going from the stout to the IPA. When I drink the IPA after I have a little bit of stout, it is so much lighter and brighter, the flavor of the IPA.
So the French toast is a stout, right?
Yeah,
it's a.
So Dave, you like going from the French toast to the pale?
Yeah,
Okay.
and you hopefully, if everybody has a little glass of each, they can mix between, go from one to the other.
Yeah, go back and forth.
Yeah, go back and forth and see how they like it.
Chase is having internet trouble this evening, so we keep losing him.
Yeah, I saw. And
here in spirit.
If you see any questions,
hopefully he's still drinking as he's frustratingly tapping his keyboard.
I'm certain he's still drinking. That's all that's getting him through it, right? Yeah.
So if you see any questions that you want us to answer, I can't see them on my phone.
I'm watching the comments.
Andrew's watching them.
Okay, cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, feel free to shout out any questions if anybody has any.
We thought this was going to be better than doing just a closed tasting in a Zoom meeting, because this gets out to everybody, right? And if they can't watch it right now, they're watching it later.
Right.
My son is in San Francisco, and he's like, I'm watching it with sound off because I'm in a meeting. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Or
I'm sure
tuning in.
I'm sure I will get a list of the beers that he wants sent to him.
Yeah.
In addition to these are some of our house favorites. The Fresh Pale is back on the schedule, but we're not going to have it for about a month. But we've got a new hoppy beer, or sometimes 2 every week.
Okay.
Our style is we don't really have yet a house beer in terms of our hoppy beers, our Hubbard Cave stuff. We're doing different stuff every week.
So Michelle's asking, can we get this 4-pack again? And it's sounding like maybe not exactly.
Maybe not exactly this 4-pack, but we can make something very similar available at all times. Yeah, just the Hoppy Beer of the Week plus X.
Yes, what we found was I put the beer on the menu as available to anybody that wanted to buy it. And
Yeah.
it just Niles Chamber mixed 4-pack, and it told what the beers were. And we had several people who didn't apply the code, which meant to
So
me
no connection to us.
that they weren't part of
it because there was a good variety. Yeah.
Nice.
4-pack.
So we try to keep some sort of package available at all times, but this has actually been an inspiration. We haven't had just a good mixed 4-pack of all our styles, but it's probably a good idea to keep doing something like this.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna I'm gonna keep it going. I don't know that we'll call it the same thing, but it's just a nice variety so people can do the tasting. And it is
Nice.
similar to when they would come to the brewery and get a flight. I mean, I would say, half of the people, if they've never been to ours, they will get a stout, they will get an IPA or an ale like that, and then they'll get a sour. So they'll get a mix just like this of the of the similar.
And
Elise
Elise
wants to know what are the other fruity beers.
Yeah, so I'll answer that one first. Too many to name, but I'll rattle a few off real quick. Our fan favorites, house sour beers are our Framboise, Pêche, and we try to make those available at all times. They're all made in the process that I outlined earlier, same as the Pêche, but Framboise has raspberries, Pêche Peach has peaches, and the Creek has Morello cherries, tart cherries, and we source those from Michigan. We also have a whole Le Soul series, which is also the same blonde sour base, same Solera method, just with all sorts of different fruits. Each different fruit or combination of fruit is a number. So we've got Le Soul 5 with kiwi, Le Soul 7 with mango, Le Soul 10 with passion fruit, Le Soul 16 with blackberry and lemon, Le Soul 20 with strawberry and rhubarb, which we'll be making again very soon.
Yum.
Every different fruit we've used or different fruit combination gets a different number, and if we love it, we just come back to that same number. We just make sure we label which fruit it is on the label so everybody can tell. Nice.
Okay, Elise is also asking what beer is closest to Blue Moon?
And that's a great question. Nothing's going to be precisely in that style. We don't currently make just a Belgian wit or wheat beer. The closest thing is probably going to be either our table, which we're drinking today, or our Tripel. The Tripel is a lot stronger. It's 8.7%. It's got a lot more aggressive Belgian flavors. So it's the table with that Belgian kind of bubblegummy, citrus, banana, coriander flavor turned up a notch and without the essence of any sour beer. Otherwise, table for something just light, crisp, refreshing, closer to a Blue Moon. But the Blue Moon doesn't have the bit of tartness or the amount of dry hop that we add to this. So table, what we're drinking today, short answer is probably the closest.
Okay. Michelle wants to know, how many beers do you offer at a time?
Ooh. Between all the different SKUs available, we are actually, we try to have a bunch of different sours available at all times. We're a little short on just the stainless fermented sours right now. If I were to ballpark it, there's generally anywhere from 30 to 40 beers, maybe more available at the brewery at the time. At any given moment, probably 2 to 3 hoppy beers, anywhere from 10 to 15 stouts, anywhere from 5 to 10 stainless fruited sours, and then we have a whole line of barrel-aged sour beers that we've released over the years, and we still have inventory of. So, I mean, I think we probably have 25 of those alone.
Yeah.
So, any given time, if you ask all our different beers, maybe 40 to 50.
Okay, I've got a couple of offline questions.
Sure.
A friend of mine texted me and said, wow, Andrew is great. I said, well, let him know. He loves your understated label, and he wants to know where the style of label came from.
That was all Jerry. Jerry and his architecture background, the monochrome style of ours, has been with us since the beginning. Both Unane and Hubbard Code have been all black and white for a while. We've started breaking the rules a little bit on our social media feed just because the color of our beer and the color of our food is too beautiful not to share. But we lean a black and white style in all of our labels and almost all of our social media.
Okay.
And his architecture style would go along with the idea of less is more, which is actually one of the beers that we have made over the years.
Less is more is the name of the beer.
Yeah,
Nice.
so that's one of our saisons. It's similar to our table beer, just without the addition of the sour beer, and also we use a little bit of orange in there. So going back to Alice or Elise's question about Blue Moon, next time we release Less is More, that's your ticket. That's what
she wants to try. So Elise would also like to know, are your beers sold in retail stores?
Yes. Most Binnies in Chicagoland. Recently, Heartland Beverage, I shouldn't say recently, it's been over a year now, but Heartland Beverage takes us throughout the rest of the state. So if you're in Western or Southern Illinois, I'm sorry, I can't tell you exactly what stores we sell into, but you can find it in most Binnies and some mom and pop shops.
Binnies and Niles is also a chamber member, so shout out to Binnies.
Binnies and Niles supports us as well as any of the Binnie stores, I'd say. I'm not meaning to discount any other Binnie stores that are watching.
No. We love all the Binnies.
But we love, I mean, the Niles buyers, the Niles workers come to our tap room all the time. They're regulars here.
Nice.
We love them. They love us. Like, we're energetic in talking about the beer. So you can probably find a wider selection of our different SKUs at Binnies and Niles than you can just about anywhere in the city.
Sure, just because of the proximity, right?
Our smaller independent friends, Beer Temple, Warehouse Liquors, Bottles and Cans. Oh my gosh, there's too many. Harp and Fiddle, Beer on the Wall. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't mention it first. They're huge. I'm sorry to anyone I didn't mention. I went off there. I'm not trying to discount anybody. Just trying.
It's not personal. We just asked them quickly.
We love you. We take our retail partners very seriously.
Yes.
So we don't do a lot of exclusive type taproom things. We try to get all our beers out there.
Jennifer Nelson, is she a relation to somebody? Wants to know how many in tap.
So generally we have 24 beers on tap at all times, and that's not including sometimes special beers. If we've run out of tap beer, we'll even pour some of our stuff in the bottle if that's the only way it's available. So anytime you come out, there are at least 24 beers on tap.
And Michelle, who is a Lincolnwood resident, wants to know if she can find this at Binnie's in Lincolnwood.
Yes. Binnie's in Lincolnwood definitely orders our beer. We can't guarantee that all of our different beers are going to be available to them at all times. Every store wants to support as many local breweries as they can. That means it's going to be limited selection, especially for somebody that makes as many different beers as us every different week. So the widest selection is always going to be here, but just about every Binnie's and most smaller independent stores, you'll be able to find some of our beers at least.
Okay, and Michelle is ahead of us. She's opened up the French toast already. So.
Well, I haven't drank it yet, but I got ahead too. I opened it and poured it.
Okay, wait. I'm getting there.
Lastly, one of our crowd favorite dessert beers is French toast. It's going to pour like motor oil. It is 12% alcohol, so this is, again, I'll back up to the beginning.
Wow.
We're encouraging everybody to drink this entire 4-pack right now. We want everybody to be able to work tomorrow, even though it's Friday. Take it a little easy, but also, live your lives.
Chase wants to know. Chase is having extreme internet trouble, so he's texting me his questions. Do you have seasonal beers?
Seasonal beers, kind of. Especially in the winter, we have our line of Festivus stouts. So our Airing of Grievances, our Feats of Strength, Belgian Imperial Stouts, we always release around Christmas time. It's come to pass that Strawberry Rhubarb, one of our crowd-pleasing sours, is generally brewed in the late spring, early summer each year. Some of our Le Grand Mon series, that's 12 different barrel-aged sour beers every year. We repeat some of those that are favorites of our members, so those kind of over time just have naturally become seasonal beers. But we don't have a specific seasonal beer.
Yeah.
Wow, this is amazing.
Thank you. Yes, I'll give everybody a couple quick notes on the French toast. So first, we brew this one with a little bit of lactose, which is milk sugar. It's mostly unfermentable sugar that we're adding to that. So it's just going to add a little bit of body, adds a lot of that creaminess that you get to it. We also add maple syrup. We add that in the boil, but we also add that after fermentation, because if you add it all in the boil, we found the yeast ferments out that sugar and you don't get the maple flavor. So we add maple syrup with the lactose, but we also add a little bit of maple syrup later. Then after it's fermented, we add vanilla beans and cinnamon sticks and let it rest for time on the vanilla beans and the cinnamon sticks. So it's a imperial milk stout with cinnamon, maple syrup, and vanilla beans.
Okay, you know what? I want this with a s'more.
Right? Yep.
Absolutely. If anyone's been paying attention, I just had a fire pit put in the backyard. We're going to be making s'mores this weekend, and I think we're going to need French toast with it.
There you go.
Gundam Roland wants to know, is this a breakfast beer? Can I drink it with my cereal?
Best to actually pour it over your cereal.
Oh, there you go.
No, absolutely. Depending on the hours you work and your lifestyle, there's no inappropriate time to enjoy our beers. It has a lot of breakfast flavors. You could have somebody close their eyes and drink this, and they would hopefully say French toast. You have that cinnamon and maple flavor, the creaminess from the vanilla and the lactose. So breakfast beer, dessert beer, beach beer. It's a beer for all occasions.
Another private question that's being texted to me. How do I get this beer out to California? That is
California, we do not have distribution yet. One of our biggest distribution partners, however, is a company called Tavour, which often sells beer to California. We cannot legally ship outside of our state to consumers, unfortunately. We have to go through a distributor. But Tavour has an app. They make available a lot of our beers. Actually, this batch of French toast was just on it last week. Sorry you missed it, but it'll be
Tell us the app again.
Tavour. It's spelled Tavour. So we currently distribute in several states. I'll run them down for you. But basically, we ship it to them. They have an online app that makes all sorts of different beers available from tons of awesome breweries. I can't describe how great the selection is. Once you fill up the box, they ship it to you. But the limitation is it's only in certain states. They're working on the lobbying and all the different things they have to do to make it legal to ship to everywhere. But it's only available in certain states. And we also work with them in conjunction with our other distributors. We make sure they're not stepping on our distributors' toes in the states we already work with by selling beer there.
Excellent.
So anywhere.
This is why Chase is here. He has put Tavour on the banner, which I can't figure out how to do. Especially now, how many beers in are we? I can't figure that out now.
Yeah, they have a website too, Tavour.com. Yeah.
Perfect, Tavour.com. And my son already has it installed on his phone. Okay, excellent. Michelle wanted to know, strawberry rhubarb, I need to get that. Is it probably best to come directly to you to get specific beers?
When available, your most sure bet is to come directly to us. But I also don't want to dismiss how, just how spread we are in the city. A lot of our distributor or rather retail partners are going to carry that beer. It's a very popular beer of ours. We generally only make it once a year. So while we do make a lot of different sour beers, there are certain ones that kind of stand out. That one will probably be spread far and wide. But again, we always encourage you to come here for the absolute best selection, because any beer we've made, in the last month or sometimes more is going to be available here. Like I was saying earlier, generally a ballparking low estimate is at least 40 beers available here.
Jennifer, I think we already answered this question. What's the story of your labels? Love the clean look. The labels signed by
One of
Jerry,
our
right?
owners, Dave's brother Jerry is an architect in a former life. Maybe you're never a former architect, I don't know, but he always has gone with a sleek style, and the monochrome black and white has always been part of our profile as well.
Yeah, the minimalist.
Very
Back
cool.
availability of beers. There are certain beers you can only get here that we don't release out to the general, to our
Okay.
distributors in other states most of the time. I mean, in very small quantities we will, but our Le Grand Man series, that's all the barrel aged sours. In general, you can only get them here at the brewery. And
Okay.
we used to do our El Zacatone, which is a mole inspired stout, in only in the brewery also. But the last batch we made in cans, and we made an extra large amount of it, and so we did distribute that. But then we also made a coffee version of that, coffee Zacatone,
Ooh.
and that one we only sold in the stores, and or we only sold in house, and so we try to keep something like that, so that there's a reason if you come here, you're gonna be able to get one of these special beers. I've gone to so many breweries before where you can get all of the brewery beers that they have in stock in the grocery store down the street from my
So
house.
why do you bother going to the brewery?
Yeah, so it doesn't make any sense to me, but we try to make it a special thing. If you come to the brewery,
Yeah.
you're gonna have. We usually will have a barrel aged stout on draft. If this was normal times, we would have had right now our barrel aged blackberry stout on, and which we bottled just recently. But since everything was no on-premise sales,
Right.
we bottled everything, so we didn't even make any kegs for us.
Wow. Okay, we've got a few questions. Michelle wants to know, when will the strawberry rhubarb come out? Later this summer? Question mark.
So that one we're working on sourcing fruit now for, so we expect to, I mean, we're still looking at least probably 6 to 8 weeks on that one. So it'll most likely be sometime in July.
Okay, and Jennifer wants to know, do you distribute kegs to Chicago bars when we can actually go back to the bars?
We do. And right, I mean, we're just starting to trickle a couple out now. We had a couple go out this week. Our draft presence in the city hasn't always been huge, but of course we're always working on that. We do, short answer, yes, we distribute kegs to Chicago bars. We expect that to ramp up more over time, but a lot of bars just aren't ordering yet. They're figuring out still what to do with their kegs that were all on when we all got shut down.
Yes, you not only took a hit because people couldn't come into your place, the bars were closed, and so you weren't getting orders there.
Oh yeah, I mean, March from March 12th through basically the end of April was a brutal time for everybody. Like we don't want to diminish anyone else's struggle by shining too much of a spotlight on our own. We'll just say it was a challenge.
Yeah. Michelle wants to know, which beer do you think pairs best with your brisket?
Ooh, so many. I personally am going to gravitate toward one of our heavier hoppy styles, probably one of our double IPAs. I don't find the hops to conflict too much because most of our smoked meats have pretty aggressive styles of their own. We use a great mixed rub. We smoke for a long time. The barbecue sauce is great. So usually I'm just going with whatever beer tastes best to me, and I prefer our double IPAs generally more than anything. But it's going to pair well with just about anything. The table beer, it's going to pair very well with the Tripel. I'd probably skew away from the sours and the stouts, just because anything that's really acidic or really sweet is going to take away from the savory of the food. But any IPA or Belgian is probably going to pair beautifully.
So tell us a little bit more about the food. I've actually ordered out twice from you guys, and I've gotten the smoked pork belly, which is amazing. and Dad has had the sliders, which he has enjoyed. Tell us a little more about your food.
I'll let Dave go. That he's a maestro.
Yeah, I've been spending way too much time in the kitchen. I thought I was a brewer, but it turns out I'm a
Apparently, you're a
cook.
chef.
I'm a line cook.
No, you're a chef. Come on, Dave.
We've been doing, my brother spent a lot of time, researching this, and by that I mean making his own at home, kind of like home brewing, but home smoking, I guess you'll say. And
Yep.
he's taught me what he knows, and we try to kind of emulate, just like the Belgian style beers, that we emulate the best Belgian breweries that we can find. We researched what they do in Texas, where the smoked brisket and smoked anything else is the standard for the way to do it, and we try to make it as similar as we can, maybe with a little bit of a touch of what we think, and then we're I mean, it's going great.
Not to be discounted are our Pesh pickles, by the way.
Oh, the pickles are amazing.
On the side,
Pickles are amazing.
all of our smoked dish. So
Yeah.
The Pesh we had earlier, we actually ferment our pickles along with other seasonings and Secret House.
In the Pesh.
There are Pesh pickles. They come inside with everything, and they're as good as they sound.
Yeah, the pickles have the pesh in them. The slaw has table in it, and the bracha beans have tripel and or maya when available. One or the other is not available, we'll switch back and forth between those. But so we do all of those. I think that's kind of, we're at the limit of where we can put beer in food, but
into food.
We're experimenting with that. I mean,
there you go.
think it's going fantastic. We have no real restaurant experience. My dad had a hot dog place for a little while where I was helping out at one point, 20 years ago. But this has been just a great challenge, and
well, you guys are doing amazing. I've done carry out from you at least twice now, and your contactlessness, is that a word? Delivery is really great, and I
don't be fooled right now. I came over in my mask. We are still taking all appropriate measures.
And we appreciate that. Most everyone knows my dad is 87, and so my primary directive is protect Dad, right? So that's important to me. Chase has several questions here. What are your favorite beers?
At the brewery or outside the brewery?
At the brewery.
I would say my favorite beer that I really, when I'm having a treat for myself, is I really like that coffee Zekatone that I talked about earlier. I had one the other night, and I can't. I really like it. It's the flavors are so awesome.
Nice.
That's the way I go.
Andrew, your favorite beer?
For ours, I would gravitate toward our barrel-aged sours, and that's because my favorite beer is, name any Belgian lambic, but if you put me on the spot, probably St. Lenvinus from Cantillon. But Cantillon, Joy Fontaine, any of those, a golden blend from Joy Fontaine as well is as good as a goose gets. Just layers and layers of funk and blue cheese and sourness. That was what got me into this in the first place, is barrel-aged sour beer. So I'm always going to push people in that direction, even people that hate sour beers. I'm just saying, you haven't had one you like yet.
That's right.
I've got to talk.
You can't go deep enough.
So Andrew was a member in our program before he started working here. So he was a member of a fan of the way we were doing the sour beers and the
A fan turned brewer?
Yes,
That's
and
right. Yeah, I sent them a long groveling email when the first membership closed. I sent them a long email saying, "I buy every one of your beers at Warehouse Liquors. You can't not let me be a part of this membership." Like begging them to let me in.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Okay, so talk to me about memberships.
So that's our Le Grand Monde system. So we generally open up in the fall, usually October for the coming year. And that's
Okay.
the barrel aged sour program that we told you about. So it's generally about one beer every month. This has backed us up a little bit, so we've only got 3 releases on the year so far, but we're about to start really pushing them out. But it's 12 sour bottles over the course of the year, all different flavored barrel-aged sour beers.
Nice.
You also get a couple bottles, or in this case, 4-packs of our Airing of Grievances and our Quad beer. Those come out around Christmas time. It gives you a lifetime 10% discount in the tap room. We throw
Nice.
member parties every year. It's just a way for people to support us and also for us to say thank you to the people that support us.
Is 10% discount on food as well?
Yep, everything you order.
Nice. All right. Chase had one more question here. Hang on. Can you ask about booking a patio table? So how's that going?
Go ahead, Dave. Yeah,
Yeah, so you go through our website and there's a link to either order food or book a table. So I would say you book a table first, and then if you want to be on the patio. But like on a Wednesday or a Thursday, like today, we've had people that say they're going to pick up, and then there's a table open, so they'll just pick up. The weather's nice, and then they see that there's a table open, so we're basically just offering a space to
Nice.
have a picnic, right? A picnic
So-
spot.
we have the online availability for you to reserve and for us to be organized. If tables are open, we will allow walk-ups. We
Nice.
will adapt our methods as we grow into this. I mean, this is the 5th day we've been open, so we're all figuring this out together. Basically, if a table's open, you walk up, we'd love to seat you. But if you're backing up against a reservation, we're going to tell you. And we're trying to figure it out with all of us. Like, we appreciate it, or with everybody. So for the most part, you can find availability. On the weekends, we're going to book up. Generally, at least the last weekend and this weekend are looking pretty full. But do your best to reserve. But if you want to try your luck and come here, the worst we can say is you can't sit down, but we can send you with some beer.
Yeah. And
So the mayor and I were there Saturday night, right? To take a look at the place. I loved nice distancing between the tables, everyone wearing their masks and everything. We loved it. It's great to know that we can book those tables online ahead of time. Gundam wants to know, can I bring my dog since it's outside?
Yes.
I need a DP back home.
Yes, and we got information on the website about that. We say,
Great.
if your dog's not going to be, too crazy and
Yeah, my dog can't come. She's crazy.
no, yeah,
She's staying home.
yeah. But
Answer a couple of Michelle's questions real quick.
Yeah.
Leash and
Michelle, do you brew any NA beers? What is that?
We do not. Non-alcoholic.
There we go. Okay.
Non-alcoholic beers right now. We're considering trying to bring in an option once, one more, again, just fully ready for everything. Once Tavern's fully functional and everything's going well.
Right.
We want to be as flexible as we can to accommodate everyone. And then to answer your question about bottles and cans, most of our beers are in cans. All of our hoppy beers, all of our sours are generally going to be in cans, except for our barrel-aged beers. So our barrel-aged sours from the Glenmont series, we still bottle, and our barrel-aged stouts. So Hubbard Stave, we do a lot of different barrel-aged stouts. Like this toast, we got some in bourbon barrel.
There we go.
Anytime we release one of those, it's still in 750 milliliters, so wine bottle size bottles. Everything else.
And Gundam, Michelle has suggested that maybe your dog can be your designated driver.
Perfect.
Let us know how that goes for you. All right. If anybody doesn't have any more questions, I think we're going to wrap this up. And I think Dave is frozen.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, yeah, we might have lost him.
I know. I think we did.
Right that
Andrew-
way. If we do lose him, he's probably going to come running out. Oh, I see him. There he is. Yeah, it probably just lost signal back there.
We're going to wait till he comes out to say goodbye. Come on out and say goodbye to us, Dave.
I'll drink this.
What a lovely night. I bet your patio is filling up tonight.
Yeah, it was pretty slow when I came back here, but I imagine, 'cause, it was a little cloudy early. We had a spot of rain,
It was. We had a little rain. It was crazy kind of rain.
but now it's gorgeous.
If Steve and Jen are still watching, I'm going to tell them to go to Unane's website and tell me what kind of beer to bring this weekend.
Sounds
Dave,
like
are you with us?
Awesome. Yeah, I almost lost you. My battery was dying. I could see it was very near the end. I had to scramble to find a cord.
Okay, we are just going to say goodbye. So thank you so much. This was fantastic.
appreciate you guys
Love
having
you guys.
Thank you for support from
Yeah.
the Bills. We love being here. We love being part of the community. We're going to keep doing everything we can to support it and encourage
We can't wait to do a ribbon cutting. So
Awesome.
hopefully things clear up a little
Yes.
bit soon and we can bring a big ribbon out and some big scissors.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Be fun.
All
Thank you
right.
guys so
Have a
much.
great night,
Everybody have
guys.
a great night. Cheers.
Bye. Broadcast and broadcast.